Hey, Frontline fans, welcome back to Comic Frontline. And fans, you with me, Mike Spider Slayer, bringing you another episode of TV Time. That's right, fans. Today we're talking about something a little bit different that we have never talked about on Frontline. And I've been watching this all season long, and this is The Strain. That's right, guys. We'll be talking a little bit about The Strain, and we'll be talking about episode 10. Which is called Loved Ones. There's 13 episodes in this first season, and again, this show is based off of Dark Horse's comic book. The writer of this book is created by Guillermo del Toro. He is the one that created this comic series, so this is what this show is based off of. And yeah, it is a vampire show, but it's not your, traditional type of, fangs and teeth. These vampires have long tongues and bald heads, and you get to see this transformation happen before your very eyes. And so there's a lot that goes into The Strain. And they really want their viewers to understand how the metamorphosis process works, how you get infected, and who certain characters are in the show. So I guess you get a feel of what's going on in this particular new series, in case you have not read the comic book. Now, some of the main characters in this story, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on who they are. The main characters in here are, his name is F. Goodweather. He's the main guy, the Center for Disease Control. He's pretty much the star of the show. The next person is Nora Martinez. She also works in the Center of Disease Control along with F. And then there's Jim Kent, who actually got killed. I think it was the last episode or the episode back, so he's no longer in the show. So we can forget about him. Then we have Abraham Sadrankian. He plays as the old guy that was in the concentration war camps. He knows all about this disease, this vampire disease. So he's in that show. And then there's Vasily Fett. He is like an exterminator. He kills rats for a living. He winds up joining our group. Next, the character in this lineup is called Kelly Goodweather. She plays as F's ex-wife in the show. Next is Thomas. I'm not sure how to say his last name in the show, is Ecorist. But Thomas plays as one of the master vampires. He's one of the head vampires that is second in command behind the true master vampire in this series. And next you have the master, again, who is the main creature-like. You get to see him from time to time. So, and then you have Zach, who plays as F's son. So there's some of your cast members, just to give you a little bit of a catch-up in case you have not watched the series at all. Now, again, basically this is a vampire series. What happened in the first few episodes here is that there was a plane. It landed. All the people thought were dead, but they were infected with these worms, and they wound up becoming these vampires. And these vampires have 6-foot tongues and all kinds of stuff, and you get to see certain ones that were supposedly going to be the chosen ones, and you get to see their transformation in the series. And along the way, you have gotten to see flashbacks of Thomas, how he became, one of the head vampires, and you've got to see little flashbacks of certain characters and how they became to be. So really interesting stuff so far. Now, let's go to this episode, because I don't want to spend too much time on the back history in case you have already watched it. Now, this episode is episode 10. It is called The Loved Ones. This episode was mainly probably a filler episode. Did not have much progression in the actual story that has happened here. And the one thing that you get to see, though, is that you get to see F, who is in search for his wife, Kelly. And she really hasn't played a real significant role in this particular series. And I think it kind of hurts the series a little bit, because as a viewer, you kind of almost don't really care about Kelly, because she's hardly even been in the series. It would have been a lot better if F and Kelly were actually married with each other. Now you just have this guy who is it's his ex, and he's going after her. You've just never seen these two have a really close relationship. So again, as a viewer, you don't feel the connection there. So you don't feel that emotion. But however, F is going after to try to find his wife. And his son, Zach, was the one that found the location on the internet of his wife's phone. And so throughout the episode, you see a little bit of flashback that happens 32 hours, I think, previous. And you get to see Kelly go into her house, and you find her current boyfriend, Matt, who was infected by the strain virus. And what happens is that she winds up getting infected. You see this worm go into her eyeball. Now, if you scratch these type of vampires, or you decapitate them, they have all these worms in them. And if these worms get into your bloodstream, then you wind up becoming viral as well, and then you wind up becoming this vampire. So what happens is the worm gets in her eye, and then now you get to see her metamorphosis happen as well. You haven't seen it too much recently, but you saw it a lot in the first few episodes, how these people change, and her change seemed to be very quickly. Now, I don't know if this is intentional or inconsistency of the show, but in the other episodes, it seemed like a few days before people change, and hers was like just over a day. So again, I don't know if it's different for everybody else, but really interesting there. You get to see her change, and you get to see her point of view of the change. So you get to see her go to her best friend's house. She actually kills her best friend's kid, and you get to see her what she sees in the humans, how you see, like, she sees through their bodies. You get to see, like, the heart and the veins and all that stuff. And in the end, you wind up seeing the master. The master calls to her, because the master sees through all his little vampires, and it looks like he's choosing her to be one of the head vampires, because the master knows that F and his group is after to stop their world domination. Now, the other second part of the actual episode has to do with Vasily and the hacker girl. The hacker girl is the one that took over the web, and they go to Jonathan Palmer's, or Mr. Palmer's building, and they have words with him on, for what reason, I really don't know. It was just such a weak scene. I guess they wanted to reverse the internet by talking to him, trying to get some sense to him, and she winds up slapping him, and then the guys let him go. So it just seemed like that part of the story wasn't so great for me. I think Hacker Girl and Vasily, I think their actual chemistry between each other is pretty good, but again, that scene for me was really weak. You didn't see much of Abraham in this actual episode, and you didn't see Nora in this episode that much either. So they were very quiet, and that's why I felt that this episode was kind of, a fillerish type of episode. And when you got to the end of the episode as well, you get to see Zach, who winds up, getting his mom's cell phone, because F wound up finding it, and he watches a video of himself opening up a bike, which I thought was a very anticlimactic episode. I would love to see the actual episode end with Kelly go to the master as she being the chosen few to be one of the head vampires. That would have made for a much more climactic ending. So I felt this was a very fillerish type of episode. However, for me, this show is pretty entertaining. Is it the best TV series I've ever witnessed? No. Does it have its inconsistencies? Yes, I feel that it does. Does it stall at times? Yes. Does even the script feel cheesy at times? Yes, it does. But again, this is the first season. Hopefully they'll correct their mistakes, build up a better plot line, a little bit more solid going into the second season. And I want to see this show improve. And this is a good, summer type of show because there's nothing else that's been on. And once this is over, then The Walking Dead comes back on, and then I'll start reviewing The Walking Dead. So after watching this particular episode, I'm going to give this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. Really like seeing Kelly's point of view of being a vampire. That's what shined for me in this episode. So guys, leave me your comments below what you thought of The Strain if you watched this episode. What do you think of this TV series as a whole? And did you ever read the comic series? Because I actually have not. So guys, as always, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off, and thank you for watching Comic Frontline. Take care, everyone. See you soon. Bye.